Hey.
Don't chat to me, you're too ugly.
I beg your pardon?
What? Nah, I think you look kind of...
I don't care what you think, boy. Anyway, boys are like sports, you're meant to be played, so...
Are you serious, my brother?
Well, girls are like rocks. The flat ones get skipped.
You need to leave!
Anyway, forget all of that. The real reason I was coming over, I make videos for social media. I was going to give you $1,000.
Can I still get the money?
I don't know, I mean...
Please, I'll do anything.
Anything.
Yeah?
Get a job.
Damn, good one, my boy. She probably took a while to recover from this one.
Everybody except Anza said women shouldn't be drafted. But y'all want to be equal? So wait a sec. How are you equal if the men are the ones that have to fight and die to defend the country? The men are the ones that build and maintain all the infrastructure. Like, none of this stuff in the studio is built or maintained by women. Do you know that like 90% of infrastructure jobs are still held by men? And that if you look at the top 20 jobs held by women now in 2024 versus 1924 are almost the exact same. So women have had 100 years to do whatever they want, and they still do the same 20 jobs they did 100 years ago. If the men are the ones tasked with every time there's a natural disaster, they have to go out and rescue people from the fires and the floodwaters, and every time there's a war, the men have to go and fight it and defend the country, and anytime there's a criminal who needs to be violently arrested, it's going to be a man who goes and does that, not a woman. Where does the equality come in?
Love when women put other women in their place for men. They don't even know what the word infrastructure means.
This right here is what the modern day feminism has done to the family unit. This feminist movement has completely destroyed the value of a beautiful woman. We're in a world where when men call women beautiful, they're called simps. When a woman actually speaks truth and has half a brain, she's called a pick-me. It's just what a time to be alive. You know, it used to be all the good ones are taken. But now it is all the good ones are single at home and not playing the game anymore. Marriage used to be a covenant made before God, a unity between two people becoming one person. And now it's just a business contract. It's a way to step up in the world. And there's too many women out here, beautiful women, and the prettier we are, the more feminist they seem to be. But a lot of men don't even want to take the time to get to know a beautiful woman. They won't even approach her because they think that she's going to be a stuck-up biatch, you know? Too many women out here have used men as a meal ticket and using men for their money and their status. And those same women also want to be treated like queens. And a man will call her beautiful, and she'll be like, you know, that entitled feminist attitude of, yeah, well, of course I am. It's disgusting. And those types of women don't deserve to be treated like queens. They deserve to be treated like peasants because they're out there just using people. There's men out here that are just using women to get what they want, and then they discard them. They go on social media, they go on dating websites, and they just use them like they're toys. And so women, we have our walls built up so high that God himself can't get over them. And our modern day culture has, at least in the Western culture in the States, I don't know what's happening in other countries, but here in America, you know, we've completely forgotten what marriage is all about and what a beautiful woman can bring, the value of having a woman behind you and supporting you and loving you, because too many women are out here breathing in this toxicity on social media. And if I'm the only person that's bringing in a different perspective, if I'm the only person today that can snap you back into reality, then all of this will be worth it. But I'm just making these videos to bring a different perspective, because there's just this ocean of toxicities, of misinformation swimming around, and self-entitlement. We're in a time of this narcissistic attitude. We all have it. It's just like, it's all about me and what makes me happy and me. And however, that's good. It's good to care about yourself and love yourself and take care of yourself and self-love and all that stuff. You know, that's very important. But at the same time, we can't sit there and hate men. You know, being a white male in 2023, God bless them, man. They can't win. And the irony of all this coming from somebody with a website, you know, people have already tried to discredit my voice because I have a website, but I don't know, we'll get there another day. I don't hold my value.
Well, the only day modern women might get this will be the day they are left alone with no pretty privilege left and men around to cater to them.
The hypocrisy of most modern-day women and feminists is that they believe in gender equality until it has to do with men. As soon as other women like myself invalidate them or make them feel some type of way for speaking on men's issues or things that men go through, suddenly equality goes right out the window and everything becomes about misogyny and hatred for women. Really, they're just showing the hypocrisy of the fact that they don't actually believe in equality and gender equality. They only believe in what benefits them. And it's actually quite selfish and very hypocritical. For example, domestic violence only matters when it happens to women. As soon as I bring it up about men, it's not real. Mental health only matters in women and postpartum and all of that and hormones until you mention a man and the suicide rates within men. Gender equality only exists in women until the woman makes more than a man and has to pay out more in a divorce. Gender equality only exists when there's more homeless shelters for women and domestic violence shelters for women than there are for men and veterans. They want gender equality in the workplace until a man has a trade and makes more money in physical labor because they can't do it. Most modern day women and single moms care about gender equality until it comes down to parenting time. Gender equality exists until a man doesn't want a child, but the woman won't abort it either. And the hypocrisy is that they want equality until it has to do with men. Okay, bye.
It's not equality. It's about having power over others. It's now about benefits without responsibility for all the modern women.
Women complain about men lusting after them, but then dress like they're trying to get attention. So make it make sense, girl. Make it make sense. But you know what? I'm about to say something that's going to make a lot of women uncomfortable. But someone needs to call this out because the reality is we can't have it both ways. We live in this culture where women are constantly complaining about how men objectify them and how tired they are of being looked at. And I get it. Unwanted attention can be uncomfortable and disrespectful. But then I see the same woman posting thirst traps, wearing barely anything, and dressing in ways that are clearly designed to get male attention. You're literally putting your body on display and then getting mad when men look. Where's the logic in that? And before you come at me saying I'm not doing it for male attention, I'm doing it for me, girl, let's be for real right now. Because I used to dress like that too, and I wanted to believe I was doing it for me. But really, at the end of the day, deep down, I was doing it for male attention. So, no, you are too. If you don't want to be objectified, then stop objectifying yourself. It's really that simple. It really is. But in all honesty, we need to take accountability for the energy we put out in the world. You can't dress for attention and then complain when you get it.
Attention can be addictive, and addicts make excuses for their addiction.
If you're still treating modern women with chivalry, you're a sucker. And here's exactly why. Under chivalry, yes, there were certain behaviors men were expected to do with women. But why those women were treated this way is because they themselves were behaving in a way they were supposed to. So let me read you some things, how these women were expected to behave to be deserving of chivalrous treatment. Women were often seen as symbols of purity and virtue. They were expected to maintain high moral standards regarding modesty, chastity, and loyalty, both in behavior and appearance. Women were expected to, yes, embody modesty, gentleness, and grace in their interactions with men. This included being soft-spoken, polite, and nurturing, behave with decorum, and emphasize femininity without appearing too bold or assertive. Does that sound like modern women to you?
If she is a traditional virtuous woman, definitely give her traditional treatment. Treat modern feminists like you would another man. Simple.
This one's going to piss some people off, but you know what? It's the truth, so I'm going to say it anyway. I really think it's time that we retire this whole idea that women just want equality, because it's not the truth. At the end of the day, we do want preferential treatment. That would be more accurate. Men could probably respect that more than what we say. Let me explain. Believe her. Without a shadow of a doubt. We should believe the woman who says whatever she says, although we know, factually speaking, in many, many cases, these women are lying. They'll come up later and say that they lied after they've ruined men's lives, taken everything from their career, and sent them to prison. But where is the justice? Where are the lines, the droves of people, women who are saying persecute her because she lied and she hurt a man? They don't exist. You know, You say that you want equal rights to be in all of these spaces, but you don't. Is there a backup of a line in the sanitation department? Are there women trying to get into the dirty and hard, labor-intensive workforces that men are in? I've never seen it, never heard of it. It's not on the news. We're not fighting to get in those spaces. We want to be in a boardroom. We want to be in AC. We want to be in a nice suit. We want our hair done, our nails done, and to have a lot of respect because our title demands it. We want high pay. We don't care about being equal to men, not in all spaces. You know, and it's the same thing in pretty much every other area. With the law, we want the law to favor women, to continue to favor women who have babies, give you insane child support, although it does not take even half of what most of you are trying to get, and you don't care what happens to the man. Can he live? You don't care. None of these areas, which were once areas that women did want equal rights, equal opportunities. It's not true today. It's 2024. Y'all are just running this in the ground and changing it into whatever suits your needs today. So let that go and be honest. Tell guys, we want preferential treatment. Drizzle doesn't have to be a life sentence. It just has to be that we become honest.
Absolutely. Keep speaking the truth on this, since we men have said this for so long. We are called toxic for being masculine.
Hi guys. Our society is lying to both men and women. It tells young boys that there's something wrong with their inherent masculinity, and it sells young girls some fantasized notion of a career as being the greatest source of their fulfillment and happiness. The result is a confused generation trying to frantically claw at some sense of meaning and purpose. But I think no lie is as destructive and antithetical to human nature as the idea that a woman's true happiness primarily comes from working a job. And I'll tell you why. Your job is not your life's purpose. It is, at best, a means of sustenance. Too often, the word career is thrown around by people when they want to glorify and fantasize what's really just having a job. Having a career that actually gives you enough meaning and purpose and excitement in life is a luxury only a few people have. The vast majority of people have jobs they hate, and they only do that job they hate because they have bills to pay. I'm not sure why anyone would think that's more fulfilling than family, children, and marriage. Women bear the greatest brunt of this lie. Their most vital and fertile years are spent slaving away at these jobs until they realize that they're stuck in a life they don't want to live. This is reflected in the phenomenon of female lawyers disproportionately dropping out of law firms after the age of 30. This is when they find out that their life is being eaten up by a workplace that ultimately doesn't give a damn about them. And when surveyed, over 48% of women have stated that work-life balance is the biggest reason they want to quit. Working a job isn't exactly the female empowerment that feminists told us it was going to be. Women went out of their way to escape the patriarchal oppression of their husbands, but usually just found themselves working for a male boss somewhere on the corporate ladder. Except that male boss didn't give a damn about them and could easily replace them at the drop of a hat. The same women that cringed at the thought of making their husbands a coffee or a sandwich now finds herself running errands around the workplace trying to make sure that the male boss is happy and types up a good report. To me, this seems like human relationships are becoming less meaningful and more focused on money and feminist ideas, where women think they're gaining freedom, but they're actually facing a worse kind of oppression because it's done covertly. And the most tragic part is the women that are most likely to fall for this lie are the women in their 20s and 30s. It's just a harsh biological fact that those are also the most fertile years of a woman's life. Many women find themselves at the end of their career road, having missed the intersection where they actually needed to make important decisions about marriage and children and family. And usually there's no going back. There's a great book everyone should read called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. I think that's enough to change anyone's perspective on this. Ronnie was a nurse caring for terminally ill patients and recording their life's regrets before they died. She writes that one of their greatest regrets on the deathbed that they were on was that they wished they hadn't worked so hard and actually spent more time with family. I think there's a lesson in that we could all learn before we get to that stage ourselves. So with that being said, until the next video, I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Well said, and certainly the truth. It's past superiority, it's pure domination, beating men into unaliving, and then it cheered on.
Feminism is not the issue, but what it's turned into is. The original fight was for equality, votes, jobs, and just mutual respect. But somewhere along the way, Equality morphed into superiority. Now, women are told, you don't need a man. Depending on him, it makes you weak. Be soft and nurturing, that's betrayal. Femininity was never weakness. But when women started trying to outman men, the polarity disappeared. No push, no pull, no leadership, no trust, just two people fighting for control, wondering why the attraction is dead. Men aren't disgusted by women. They're disgusted by the distortion, the constant anger, the victimhood, the competition. Masculine energy in women is repulsive to high-value masculine men. It just doesn't work. Real men don't want to battle their woman. They want to build with her. They want the woman who can lead her own ambitions and still soften in his arms at night, because strength and softness can still coexist. It should be able to. Masculine energy brings structure, protection, and direction. Feminine energy brings warmth, intuition, and life. You remove one, you get chaos. You fake one, and you get resentment. Feminism wasn't freedom. It was a tax scam. Shove women into offices, twice the work, twice the cash for Uncle Sam, pump up her paycheck, sell her cars, daycare, happy pills, then throw the kids in a brainwash center, aka schools, while mom and dad grind 60-hour weeks, too wiped to see the family's actually been robbed. The goal was never to dominate each other. It was to balance each other out, to make each other better. When masculine and feminine move in harmony, your love thrives and legacies last lifetimes.
It was corrupt from the beginning. Women have forgotten that a woman's femininity is all-powerful to men. Women can get us to do anything by being feminine.
Modern women love themselves so much that they think they deserve the men that they sleep with, even though those men do not commit to them. And then they come back and scream trauma.
Do you think that the women that are showing off on social media doing a lot of these things, they think that's self-love, or is that actually a lot of insecurity?
I think it's narcissism. I think most modern women are very narcissistic. They're usually obsessed with themselves. They think that they're tens. They think that they're special.
And then soon after, a nice guy is thrown under the bus for her Chad trauma almost 9 out of 10 times, and she goes off playing the victim.
We've created a generation of narcissistic women. And what's happened is the rise of social media and the rise of online dating and the rise of feminism has taught women that they are not to blame for any poor choices. Every poor choice is glamorized. So if you want to be a sex worker, it's great. If you want to post in bikini pictures online, it's fine. If you want to be with it, every poor choice is glamorized, and every internal reflection is seen as gaslighting yourself. So they've even got terms for internal reflection to prevent it happening. And so what will happen is they are trained to not reflect on themselves, because we've been told we've been oppressed for so many years. Now it's time to make sure we project. And so we don't take any accountability. And as a result, when we get into relationships, if we don't feel completely soothed all the time, he must be a narcissist. He must be a manipulator. He must be gaslighting. He, rather than I. And unfortunately, we've got an online market that caters to that wounded woman, that caters to that entitled woman, and caters to that narcissistic woman. And it's so wild to me that so many women talk about narcissism, but the society today is just catering to narcissistic women.
You're responsible for modern women acting the way they do because you tolerate it. Next time you're fed up with the unrealistic expectations that women have nowadays, remember this video and remember that change happens when men say enough is enough. Women know there will always be simps to cater to them hand and foot, so why would you expect them to change their ways? So many men nowadays are listening to propaganda telling them to yield to women at all costs so they conform and tolerate disrespect from their partners. If you want to see change in women, stop being afraid to call out disrespectful behavior when you see it. Stop being afraid to set expectations in relationships, and stop thinking that finally acting like a man is what's going to make them leave. Sure, maybe your values will push some women away, but they'll make the right woman stay. I'm not afraid to stir the pot, so why are you?
Well, that's exactly why men are done and are choosing to stay single now. Thanks for watching Manhood. If you want access to exclusive episodes and want to support the channel, hit that join button and become a member. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if it hit home. Drop your stories and thoughts in the comments. We read everyone. See you tomorrow.